you. All very good and excited.
Yeah, excited. I like the start when it
Yeah,
starts
yeah,
up.
yeah.
I'm excited, but yeah, how's it all going?
Yeah, it's all going good. Enjoying everything at the moment. Just come back from a little injury, so a lot of positives this week, making it back on the pitch, etc., etc. But yeah, all good, family all well, and yeah, in a good place.
That's good, mate. It's good. Right. So for context, we go back, right? So we go back a while, probably. Well, actually, from you're very good mates. So went to school in the same class as my son Jack.
Yeah.
So now playing Leeds international football. So yeah, mate, I know it's been a heck of a journey, and this is why I'm really interested to get. I'm excited to get you on. So yeah, give the listener a bit of an overview of your journey so far. Then, so take us back as far as you want, mate.
I need to take us back as far as I remember. But I'd say Marlborough, our primary school. Mine and Jack's, my sisters, Jack's sisters, pretty much everyone that is like related in a way with us two went there, sorry. And just being in the same class, like you said, it was obviously great fun, and like having that relationship from such a young age, I think that's stuck. Obviously now there's probably less contact as we've grown older, but still it's like a friend that no matter when I speak to them, like there's still that connection. So like me and Jack got along so well, doing every sort of sport together, cricket, rugby, football, you name it. Like we were both there. We're both like giving it our all. Very
Yeah.
competitive as well. But it was just one of them things. I have a little story when I knew that I was coming on. I thought back of this story about Jack. I think it was at the St. Peter's Rugby Club.
St.
And
Peter's.
yeah, and in the rugby hall, Jack fell and got a cut right on his chin.
Yeah.
And I remember you coming down and just checking on him, and that's one thing that stood out. But that was Jack, how I remembered him, as in just like no matter if he was playing in a hall, playing in a sport, like just going 100% at it, whether he got hurt or not, sort of thing. Um,
Yeah.
so
The bit to tag on to that story is my wife Amory at the time was heavily pregnant, right?
uh,
I had to take Jack home and tell my wife at the time and it's still the time, so I'm still
yeah,
but I had to tell her that, yeah, by the way, I just took Jack down and he's cut. He needs stitches in his cheek. I think she
it was
nearly
pretty
gave birth.
bad. It was pretty bad. Yeah, I do. That was the one story that sticked out to me.
Love that, love that. So, mate, look, we get on. Like, I know your parents really well. Your grandparents. We were just talking before we came on, just about that, understanding who they are and where you come from. So
Yeah.
we've known each other a long time. Someone asked me about Charlie Crew, and I will say this. I say, well, I coached Marlborough when he started. I had nothing to do with your development. But I always say
Hey,
that.
everyone helped me in different ways, and we'll give you as much credit as you want. So,
Yeah, mate. I always deflected back to your dad because your dad was the coach. He took you all the way through. So on that note, then talk us through your football career. Where did it start? Where did it all start from? And you said obviously Marlborough, but what was the club you were with?
I was with Maindy Corries, which was obviously a grassroots team in Cardiff. Uh, like I think the first sort of year that I did it, my dad was the coach, like you said. There was a few others. I can't think of their names off the top of my head. But yeah, it started from there really. I was being told that I loved football by my parents from like the ages I can't remember. Like they put me straight into a football kit, this, that, the other, always watching football. Like my dad was a big football fan, big Chelsea fan, which I'm now
Big
a Chelsea
pitch.
fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So always was around it when I was little. And then as soon as I started playing, like I can't ever remember a time where I wasn't playing football on the weekend. Or like Tuesday or Thursday night, whatever it was. I always just remember there was football, football, football. Sure, my mum will tell you as well. Every outfit that I wore, football shoes on my feet, no matter if it was with jeans, tracksuit, always football boots. Um, so yeah, that's where it started. Obviously, at that age, I think the biggest thing is just about enjoying it, which I was doing every single day because I just wanted to go back. And then I think it was about 8 or 9 where that's when I was just playing for like Maindy Corries, trying out with like the foundation, Cardiff City Foundation, so not the academy or anything, and then ADCs at the time I think it was called. And then I got a chance to trial for Cardiff City, which was obviously nice. And yeah, from that point I think it was about 8 or 9. I managed to have that Cardiff Academy, like, I don't know what you'd call it, like title, and started from there really. And then ever since, it's been all I really think about, whether I'm in school, at home. It's just football, football, football. And then yeah, that's sort of where it started to kick on. And um 14, 15 was where I'd say I started understanding that this could maybe be something.
Not yeah, then. So not before that.
No, obviously when I think when you're 10, 11, like you have the dream and you tell everyone you're going to be a professional footballer, but I don't think I fully understood it. And I think that was good because you still need to enjoy at that age. I think
Yeah,
then when you start going into under 14s, 15s, where you're getting ready for that step up in a few years to like full time or a scholarship or a pro contract. So at
yeah.
14, 15, that's where um I started to like play up age groups. So I'd be with the 16s. I'd go on tour with the 16s when I was under 14, stuff like that. So that's when I started to understand, oh, I'm doing well. So maybe this is something. And then obviously my 15th birthday, no, sorry, my 15 turning 16th birthday is
Yeah.
when I moved up to Leeds. Uh, and then obviously that's the biggest step so far.
And now, and if we stick there for a minute, because how was that? So, like, a lot of people, this is the thing, see, I mean, I talk about, I've had Kane James on the first one,
Yeah,
sort of on, and we talked about it being a bit of a goldfish bowl.
yeah,
With the guy football, I mean, people don't see that at 16. You get uprooted, taken to a different city, a different part
yeah,
of the
yeah.
country. How was that? How was that for you?
I still remember the day that I started because I went up previously in the season to have a little look around when like obviously not no one knew about it, just me, my parents and Leeds. Not even
Yeah.
Cardiff knew that I went up to have a look. So I
Right.
obviously went up um and had a look around, but there was no players and nothing like that. So it didn't really feel proper to start with.
Yeah.
I had an idea that I wanted to go, but yeah, it was that first day when I went and signed and started training. But it was the moment where my parents had to like leave, where I realized that this is actually what I'm doing. So a little
This is
story. What was that?
so this is real.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, this was like the whole thing. Obviously, my mum and my sister weren't there. My sister, I think, was in hospital with something,
Mm.
Miller, so she couldn't manage to come up. So it was me, my granddad, Maggie, and my dad. So it was my first day, moved into something called the Digs, where I'm going to be staying with a new family, obviously too young to stay on my own. So you have to go and live with a family.
So is that what happens? Is it when you're sort of under 18, you got to grab, you got to
Yeah.
the digs. That's what you class it as.
So 16 to 18 is that digs period where you're with a family, and you basically live with them every day. They feed you whatever meal that you don't have at the club, and then yeah, you're just in training every day. But the moment my dad, my granddad, and Maggie sort of said that goodbye, I still remember it to this day. Like I won't lie, there was a lot of tears.
Yeah.
Um, uh, think I sat in my room that night and was sort of, if I'm honest, saying like, "What have I done? Why am I doing this?" Which
The
building
second,
up,
second, yeah.
yeah, which building up, I never had that thought. I was like, "I want to go. I want to go." Like this is what I've wanted. Like at the time, Leeds, a Premier League side, I was like, "I want to go to a Premier League side. I want to go and play in the Premier League." Obviously, I
Yeah.
understood that it wouldn't happen straight away. But I was like, this is my best chance. I want to go. But that moment where they left, I think not reality hit, but it was just like, I'm on my own here. This is
Yeah.
going to be hard. So yeah, that was a difficult period. That first week, I think a lot of missing home. I wouldn't tell my parents that, like, and I didn't tell them at the time, but it was a tough week, and especially integrating with a new group, where you don't know anyone, is very hard. It's like joining a new class, things like that.
Yeah. People don't see that, right? And this is the bit I was, what fascinates me is that people see. I had Dave Cottrell on actually, and I was talking about his upbringing through the systems, and he was saying, "Well, it's quite a lonely place, right?" When you look at it and goes, "Wow, the footballers are doing this, they're doing that," but the reality is, people don't see those those moments, right? They are
Yeah,
moments of
yeah.
real life moments.
Yeah, you have. I will say my journey so far, there hasn't been many of them moments, but they're definitely there. I've had three or four that I can remember, and probably ones that I'll get onto with some of the questions later.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely times where you feel very lonely. But like I said, I think for me as well, football is what I've wanted to do so much that that sort of levels it out. It's like
Is that where it would take you then? What you're saying about that? Is that you always then hunker down on actually this is what
yeah, yeah, that's what got me through that first week is like you obviously in the exact moment where where my dad left, for example, like I'm thinking, no, this is the worst thing ever. But you sit down and you let like your emotions like cool down for a minute and you realize like this is what I've wanted. This is like this is what I've dreamt of sort of thing. And then that sort of levels you off. And then that's what I sort of went back to in that instant. And I think that's what I go back to a lot of the time is like I have to remember in my heart what I've done everything for. And it does feel like I've done everything because like I said to you, I can't remember a time where football hasn't been the main priority. So yeah.
can I ask you a question on that, Charlie? So one of the things again that resonated with me from um Cottrell's sort of pod. He was talking about it being it's really important that it's your dream, not the parents' dream. Where does that sit for you regarding like it oozes that you've always wanted this?
Yeah.
Is it has it always been your dream?
Yeah. And I think if you ask my parents, there was never a time where they had to force me to go to training or they had to be like, oh, come on, we're going to training now. It was me saying, hurry up, get back from work. I need to go to training sort of thing. And I have so many memories of me getting quite annoyed with my dad. Like a Thursday night, 5 till 7 training. He's just had parents' evening. He's trying so hard to get back on time, but he can't. And I'm missing 30 minutes of a session, which to me was the end of the world at the time. But
Yeah.
obviously, yeah. So no,
And
obviously my dad loves football, and I think my dad really takes big pride in the fact that I do play football. But like I said, he never once forced me to do anything, and I feel like that's sort of like there wasn't much pressure, and I think that's then where I could go and enjoy them first few years, and then when it did start to get serious, I think he didn't give me a kick up the backside sort of thing, but he just let me know, sorry, that this could be something, and then that was all he did. It was just that little like reminder that there's something here for you. So yeah, but yeah, it's always been me telling him to hurry up.
yeah, and I love that as well. That something the questions might not necessarily ask it, so I'll ask it now before we kick into the 10
Mhm.
questions. So with that, again, what fascinates me is the involvement of the parent and how they work with them. You'd have seen it on the other side as well. You've seen other
Yeah, yeah.
lads not maybe making it, parents be. So, what's your outtake on, the support your parents are giving? I love that little bit there with no pressure, go and enjoy it. But what sort of support have they been on your grandparents within this journey?
Yeah. No, I can't thank every single one of them enough. The amount of times that they've taken me halfway up the country, back down in the same day, then training the next day. It's like the amount of miles my dad's probably done. I remember weekends were my mum and my sisters and me and my dad. No matter what happened, my dad was getting me there.
Yeah,
And a prime example of that is I'm on a family holiday. Um, about 13 or 14. But Cardiff City have just arranged a game versus Man City. But I'm on holiday and my dad books me a flight back with him. And
did
we go and I play Man City and my dad's there watching and my mum's like she can't even say no. Um, because I think that's then where my dad was. Maybe I didn't recognize it at the time, but that's maybe where my dad was putting a little bit of pressure on. He was like, no, he's doing it.
yeah,
If he wants to, he is. And obviously I wanted to, but yeah, I can't thank even my grandparents, like them helping out with my parents. Like if they couldn't take me, it was, it was, it was a group effort because there was never a session I missed.
yeah, mate,
Yeah.
I love that. That's a real like there's one of those moments where we talk about moments. Man City, that must have been. We'll come on to that. Let's kick into the questions then, mate. I'm like a flipping proud daddy here. I'm literally just loving. Loving the conversation, full stop.
Yeah.
Let's start with number one then. What's the toughest obstacle you've overcome to get where you are today?
I think one that's been more recent as well is this last season, this last 6, 7 months, where this was a big season for me. Last season made my Leeds debut, then gone on loan to Doncaster, managed to get promoted. And this season felt like a season where I could really kick on. And yeah, it was obviously not how I had planned it to go. I went to Doncaster, I played eight-ish games until January, which obviously there's 20 odd games, which you'd like to play more. Every footballer would like to play more. There's obviously reasons why that happens. Some that I know, some that I don't know, some that I agree on, some that I don't agree on. But yeah, that's how it went. And then coming back and sort of having that mindset where this second half of the season is going to be really important now. I was really like it was all I could think of. I think maybe people in and around me knew that like I was putting a lot of pressure on myself here. I was not pressure, but I was really big in this second half of the season up. I wanted to go on loan again somewhere else and really kick on and make
Yeah,
the season a success. But then my second session back at Leeds, I tore my hamstring. It was a C, grade 3C, I think. You see
yeah.
something like this. First of all, I have to say I thought I got shot in the hamstring.
It's like sniper.
Yeah, not nice at all. But yeah, then this 6 week period that I've just had has been very, very tough. I know there's not a lot of time after that I can say that I've like made that progress,
Yeah,
but from this 6, 7 months mentally, understanding of my situation and me as a person so much better, whether that be how I deal with setbacks, how I deal with, for example, not being in the team when I believe I should be. Now, the first 6 months of Doncaster went amazing. I played near every game. We won the league. We nearly won every game. I think I won like 75% of the games that I played,
yeah,
which I was just loving life. Everything was good. I think this is then where I go on to you learn the most when not everything's so smooth sailing. And that's what I figured out this last 6 months. I think it's been very important that I experience this
mm,
because if I'm honest, I think my journey in football that we've been speaking about has gone very like this. It's been
yeah,
Cardiff playing up and up, Leeds playing up, first team debut, Wales. It's always been going up. There's never been a real setback. And I think this season is my biggest one. And it's just now, like I'm back in training. I feel good. I'm going back with the first team. So this injury could be the best thing that happened to me. And that's how I'm thinking. I'm taking the positives out of it. Um, and that's when I'm sort of setting little goals. And I believe in myself that obviously between me and you that like I'm good enough to go and play in the Premier League this season. And I am going to make my Premier League debut. That's what I set my goals as because my goals at the start of the season were go play 30, 40 games somewhere. Now
yeah,
I'm not in that position to do that. So it's switching that. And it's yeah, obviously me trying to kick on now. Um, plus also showing the Leeds manager this that we're talking about right now is that
yeah.
I've grown up, I've matured and I've become mentally more aware, mentally more strong, and then obviously show him what I can do on a football pitch, which I back myself every day against whoever I play against.
Yeah, and I love that mindset piece. I hope you don't mind. It's not just between me and you if this goes out, right?
Oh no, yeah, sorry. That just rolled off the tongue.
I'm just clarifying it. But do you know, the bit for me with that, child, what I'm sensing is you got to back yourself, and I feel and hearing that, again, I did a podcast yesterday, right, with the under 20s coach for Wales rugby, and one thing he talked about with was about adversity and resilience, and ultimately those ones that make it really to the point of the best they can ever be are the ones that have a bit of down, they just have drama and they come through it.
Yeah,
That what you just said then echoes that, right?
yeah. No, I think, and obviously, like you said, you just spoke to a person that's very high up in rugby, so he knows. I've been told this by multiple people: is you can say everything, but you honestly and truly have to believe it, and I really do, and
Yeah,
I've had to make myself believe it at times, and especially throughout this season, because there was times that I doubted myself, if I'm honest. when I'm
Yeah.
not playing, not getting picked and stuff like that. I did doubt myself, but it's now where I've stepped back from the situation, and this is what I'll take into future, like you said, adversity, is that you have to take a step back and realize, no, this is the journey that I want to be on. This is a position I want to be in, because
Mm.
people won't be in this position if they're not at the same level. And that's where then you have to get through that to ultimately get where you want to be.
What are your feelings on pressures of privilege?
I agree, but I understand I watched something where somebody said, I'm not sure what they said, and they disagreed with it, but I agree. And I think being under pressure is showing that you're in the right environment. You wouldn't be under pressure if you weren't at the very highest level. There's obviously pressures at different levels, but it's then understanding that, all right, I'm under pressure. If I can perform, then yeah, I'm ready for the next sort of step, the next level. And it's just enjoying that and really relishing the fact that I'm in a place where not many people can say they've been. So I'm gonna show the people that I can deal with it.
Yeah, mate, love that, and yeah, yeah. So number two, then, who's your biggest role model, and what's the most important lesson they've taught you?
When I got this question, I looked at it and I've come up with two. One, I feel like I'd be rude not to mention, and that's my dad. I feel like we were sort of talking about before, him making sure I was at every session, him being there and me looking up to him, and the way that, maybe not in a football term, but in how I want to become as a human, is that just, I don't know what word you'd say, but just being there no matter what, and really showing that just true belief. Like, I've never met someone that's believed in me so much and wanted me to succeed so much. I don't think there's anyone in this world that wants me to become better than him. And
Interesting.
because I feel like, and just sitting here and thinking, is like, you're always in competition in football, for example, and you're always trying to better somebody. Whereas with my dad, he's always put things in front of me so that I can be better than him, and grow up to be as close, even better if I can, than my dad. But yeah, he's one that's done everything for me, and I can't thank him enough. So I do hope he watches this, because I don't tell him this every day.
He'd be the first one on this, right? I'm sending it
Yeah,
round and your mum just to listen,
yeah.
and he'd be really chuffed with that. Just one thing with that, just to bottom that out a bit. When you said better than me, as in your dad's allowed you to do that. I know you said about a Man City example. Any other examples where that's been the case?
I think just with everything, he's put his life aside for me, and he tells me every now and then that you'll understand when you have kids. But I guarantee you that not many people would, and probably not everyone can. But
Mm.
he, no matter what, put everything that he had aside so that I could go and enjoy. Um, and yeah, I just can't thank him enough for that.
Yeah, love that, love that. Great,
Yeah.
great. That's it. It's come it all been made then.
I know.
Right.
Sorry. Yeah, one that I'm in and around at the moment, and been in
Yeah,
and around for the last 2 years, is obviously Leeds captain Ethan Ampadu. Very nice to have him around the club when I started to get first team. Like I said before, a big Chelsea fan. He used to be at Chelsea. I watched him growing up on TV. Welsh as well. My
I'm sure
position,
maybe you put it in there, so happy.
yeah, my position, just everything that I sort of strive to be is like him, the way he conducts himself every day. If you ask me who the best trainer is at Leeds, who the best trainer is at Wales, I've got one answer and one answer only. And that is Ethan every single day, no matter if he's had no sleep, 8 hours sleep. You could do anything and you'd be the best trainer.
So he outworks people
I just think there's a sort of mindset with him that he has to be the best every day. And he,
himself.
no, him, Ethan. And
Yeah,
that's something that I've taken from him, and a message that he sent me on WhatsApp as I went to Doncaster, saying all the best, make sure you're the best every single day in training. And if you're not, then like sort of take it personally. And I,
yeah,
and I, I think Steven Gerrard said that. so I'm sure he's just passed that on to me. But no,
Hey,
coming,
it's one to take it from, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. But yeah, he's someone I really look up to. Again, like I wouldn't tell him that, but he's helped me so much.
He's gonna know him from this, mate, I tell you
Yeah,
that.
I'm gonna send it to him.
Yeah, 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 you should do. But what so,
Yeah.
in those little moments, so I look at that as a moment, that little text message that, when you go into Doncaster and, that's obviously stuck with you, right? Because it's
Yeah,
stayed what main lessons then have you learned from what sort of I can feel and hear it, the role model piece, what has really stuck true with him?
he's a very enthusiastic character, very like his energy spreads throughout the group, and I think that's a main reason why he's the captain, a leader in the group.
But where would you put yourself in that? Where would you put leadership-wise? What sort of leader are you, do you think?
I'm not necessarily the loudest, I don't think. I think that's a part of my game that I have improved. I don't think I was the shouting, barking orders sort of person, but I'd like to say, and I'd hopefully like my teammates throughout Wales and throughout Leeds where I have captained the side, that they can say I've set example with my actions. I think that's something that I've always took pride in is being the hardest worker and little things that I do and I still do now. I went to a twins camp in Georgia a few months ago, and it's little things where we get our trading reports back from the GPS.
Right, the things on the packet.
Yeah, and I know it doesn't mean probably anything, and no one's really looking, but I want to be the highest numbers of distance. I want to be the highest sprint distance. I want to have the most acceleration, deceleration. I want to have run the fastest in training. And obviously, I don't go around saying, "Oh, yeah, I've done that."
No, no, of
But
course not.
it's something that I take pride in, and
That's
deep
that's
down, deep down, I want to be the best in them departments. Obviously, you want to be the best in training, but I can guarantee you that if your numbers are near the top, you can't have a bad session because you've given that 100%. Everyone makes mistakes with the ball, but you can't make a mistake with your running. That's just down to you. You either run or you don't run.
and there's so much in that where, I'm gonna relate it to rugby, right? So, I love rugby and I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
all of rugby. Mm, Alan Wynne-Jones, he would have taken this from somebody, but, it doesn't take any skill to get off the floor and get to the next ruck.
yeah.
Doesn't take any skill. It doesn't mean but what it does mean is effort. I've got to outwork the next person to get there, and I think that's what you're saying there, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
about, it's actually Paul O'Connell, I'd say that. It wasn't Adam Wynne-Jones, it was Paul O'Connell. But that's what you're saying there, isn't it? If I'm the best I can be at everything else, the game everything else comes into play. Is that fair?
Your skills show themselves, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fab, that is. That's a real good one. That's a real good one. So were you top in that session?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I could get the numbers for you if you want. I'll send them over.
Later, I'll check them on. I'll check
Yeah, you can pop them in the top of the screen or something. Yeah.
them straight on the right.
Yeah.
That leads really well into question number 3. So what daily habits or mindsets do you credit for your success so far? So I think the listener will hear what you were just talking about there and push him. But what sort of daily habits, because we all know is the habits is the mindset. You mentioned mindset a few times. So what daily habits have you got that really keeps you on that?
I think daily habits is something that I've started to introduce to my life more since I moved away. Um,
Right. Interesting.
I know it sounds like silly, but making my bed in the morning makes me like I'm starting to do things like I'm doing it. I'm making sure I get it done, and then that leads to something that I have around the whole day is holding myself accountable. And I think it's a perfect period of my journey so far to explain that is that injured period where you're in the gym, your teammates are going out to train. You're not necessarily working with a physio one-to-one. It's you go do your work. And it's holding myself to every single rep, no matter if it's the most boring exercise where I'm swinging my leg up and down. I have to do 10 if it says I have to do 10.
Yeah.
I've got lunch in 30 minutes, for example, and I've got a 35-minute bike. I'll do the 35-minute bike. And there's
So have you got lunch in 30 minutes, just so I know from timing?
no, 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 no. But yeah, that's an example I remember.
So on that, because obviously there's gonna be people listening going, "Right, get it. I get it, like, that's a really good habit." But have you ever found that difficult to sort of, because you
Yeah.
talked earlier about goals, right? And I love that, like, it pricked my ears up when you said, "I set myself goals." You said you're just getting that since being away. Is that something that has not been, like, your forte?
No, it's something that has become more important since I've been in a first team environment. When I first joined Leeds, I was still just turned 16 with a group that have been in and around Leeds for their whole life, a lot of the boys.
Yeah,
And very easy to slip into other people's way of doing things where it's like, I think where I came from Cardiff, which the facilities, the programs weren't as good as Leeds. And then boys at Leeds have had that the whole time, top facilities. And I think some of them took it for granted, but it's very easy for, especially when you're coming into a group, to just stick with people just to try fit in. I'm going to be honest, that's what I tried to do. That's what I had to
isn't
do.
it? Yeah,
Yeah. So there was obviously, it wasn't long, but at times where it'd be like, oh, there's a gym session. Like, I didn't really enjoy gym at the time. It was like, yeah, I'll just do a few sets and then I'll
right.
go on to the next one. And I think slipping into that is not great. But like I said, since going into that first team environment and firstly seeing Leeds' first team environment where these boys are performing where I want to be performing, which is the Premier League. So these are, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's very low about the people that play in the Premier League.
Yeah,
And these boys are doing everything. So seeing that. And then another side that's slightly different, I think, is then Doncaster, where the level isn't as high as Leeds, as you can imagine. But what it means to them boys at Doncaster is just as much.
yeah,
Like these lads at Doncaster are like, when we were fighting for promotion, it's like a promotion from League Two to League One is life changing. I remember the I remember the speech that the manager gave, I think it was before the last game of the season, where this changes people's life if you get promoted. Like, you help your kids, you pay your bills easier, you do all this. And I never really realized that these boys at Doncaster are like, they're playing each week for more than just football.
yeah,
So seeing both of them, it sort of takes me back to that, then holding myself accountable. As I have two now sides that I've seen where I want to be the best in the Premier League where they do it. And at League Two, League One level, these boys doing every single thing that they can to win games, for example. And it's like both of them together, I think I've had two very good experiences that then back up my habit of holding myself accountable, whether that be, it sounds silly again, whether that be like even coming across and saying hello to everyone, good morning, shaking people's hands, looking them in the eye, having a conversation. It's like making sure you do everything. Like, you can easily walk past a member of staff and avoid having a conversation, but it's like little things like that. It's putting the cones away after trading. It's making sure you do everything so that you have no regrets in a way.
yeah. Mate, this fact, mate, I know you're 20 yet?
In June.
Nearly. Jack and you are the same sort of birthday, and
Yeah.
it's, for a 19-year-old to be saying that, that's why, this is the reason why I want to do the pod. I think hearing things like that, I mean, you have no regrets then. I watched the rugby on Saturday, and yeah, the rugby was terrible Saturday, right? And Wales got trumped. But what I loved about it right at the beginning, Steve Tandy, the head coach, was putting the cones out. And you think to yourself, that's what a head coach is all about, right? I want to be on the grass with the players. I want to be in mixing it. And I just thought
Yeah.
it's actual respect from me went up a level just by
Yeah.
going fab. Great. I love that. I love that squaring yourself away as well. I think that's brilliant. So, 4, share a moment when you almost gave up. What pulled you through?
This is hard, because this never once crossed my mind.
And it doesn't need to, I think that from my point of view, mate, it's not trying to make one up either. It's
Yeah, yeah.
question's all about is, I think when you started the pod, you talked about it being a tough time, right?
Yeah,
You know,
well,
you're not the giving up bit, but the actual finding it tough. Did you put that as the hardest time you've had?
yeah, I think, and I remember this, and this will be the first time that I've told anybody, and I feel like it's a right time that I've moved on from it, is that time at Doncaster, where I've never once woken up and thought I don't want to go to training. But there was a week or two at Doncaster where I woke up and I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to go to training. I turned up to training and they'd name the team and I wouldn't be in the team again. And I went to the toilet and I cried because at that point I felt like I couldn't do anything. I felt there's nothing I can do to do what I love. Like I'm doing it in training, but training's it doesn't give you that same buzz as a game where you experience like friends on the weekends, and that excitement for 3 points. And I did cry. I had to stay in the change room for a bit or the toilet for a bit. Um, and I just didn't know how I was thinking. I didn't know what I was. I'd never been through it before.
So
Like I said
so
to you, I'd
question that,
always played.
take me out of, because we've all, I suppose, at some point, whether it be football, whether it be someone in the office or someone would have been there beforehand. What took you from there then, from not being selected, not being in the team, not, to turning that round? What was the turnaround moment for you on that?
Uh, I obviously had then conversations with the people at Doncaster, the manager, the assistant manager, and like my agent, my parents. Like I had to open up a little bit, which don't really often do. Just tell them honestly how I'm feeling and just get multiple sides of it. Obviously the coaching staff sides of how I'm gonna get back in the team. My agent side, how because he used to be a player and the experiences he's been through, and I took that and then
Yeah.
my parents were that just that like that care inside of
So
sort of the reassurance.
yeah, different sort of people's
Yeah, yeah.
opinion.
So you have three different ones. One telling you what you need to do,
Yeah,
one telling you what they've been through, and then one saying like you've got this, like this is what like you have to get through, sort of thing.
yeah. Part of life, you're gonna get there, right?
Yeah, exactly. So there was all of them, and then you obviously just have to, at the end of the day, you just have to knuckle down and work, like I said before. And that's the biggest thing is like when things are hard, it's how hard then you can go.
Yeah,
Because it's always the hardest time when you don't think that you're ever going to play or you don't think that things are going your way and you still then have to do everything. And I think that's because in your head it doesn't sit right. It's like, why should I if I'm not going to get the reward for it? But
yeah,
in that mindset, that's a short-term mindset sort of thing. Whereas you have to think it's not just now. This is you're working for 2 years ahead, for example, in a way.
yeah. So that day impacts like a week or 2 weeks time, right?
Yeah. It's like obviously not thinking too far ahead, but you have to think that every day like is there's more to come. Like
Yeah,
you have to
yeah.
take every day as it comes, obviously, but there's plenty more and plenty more time.
Love that. Love that. Right. Number 5 then, bud. What's the best piece of advice you've ever had so far? And how's it sort of how did it impact you? I also love, just so you know, that bit you talked and you remembered about that team talk, because
Mhm.
that's the humbling bit as well. When that manager said about changing people's lives, that would have stuck with you, right? Because it did. So but any bit of advice you've had that and then how did it impact you?
Like you obviously mentioned just then, you have that. I wouldn't say it's advice, but that little motivator of a speech sort of thing. But the bit of advice that sticks with me, and it's not necessarily given straight to me. It was given to a group, and it was the Leeds group after the playoff final. I was lucky enough to be in and around the playoff final. I wasn't on the bench or anything, but I was there. I got taken down with a squad and just that disappointment that obviously Leeds had put everything. I still back that they were the best team in that league that season.
And look, mate, I don't know loads about football, but I know
Yeah.
they were the best team in that league,
Yeah,
right?
and they didn't manage to go up.
Was it Southampton?
Yeah.
It was a one, yeah, I watched that, and like, honestly, I think you were into it in favourites, and that's always the tough thing about that championship
Exactly.
bit, promotion piece, isn't it?
Yeah. Obviously that year I hadn't played, but just involved in it and seeing how much the players had given to that and for them not to get that reward at the end is sort of the advice is that like no matter what the setback is, sort of thing. Like they proved next season that they went and did it, and they went and won the league. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not getting too down on the lows and not too high on the highs. I think that makes sense.
yeah.
It's stay in that level head sort of thing.
Was there a particular thing with the lads? Obviously, would have been gutted after that game. What was the mood and the change? Was obviously disappointment, but I take it. When did you get that feeling that, like, obviously you had a real monster season the year after that? Was there a feeling in the camp, like when you came back into training afterwards, that was like, "Let's go do this, lads"? What was that like?
Like I said, obviously I wasn't fully involved in that season where they lost in the playoff final, and I was in and around it for the last 3 months, maybe I'd say. March until whenever the playoff final was, March, April, May. Yeah, so 3 months I was in and around it training, got in a squad, and here and there. But yeah, so I didn't fully understand it there, but I obviously being in that dressing room when I could see what it meant to a lot of them, like you can imagine, tears, everything that you can imagine. But then that next season, me going in straight away with them in pre-season, being part of that from the start and feeling more involved than I did the year before, managing to make my debut as well. And then being involved in squads a lot more, everyday training, seeing what that feeling was that you I want to say it from a little bit more of an outsider perspective because I wasn't playing every week, so I wasn't there in the thick of it, sort of thing. But I knew that they weren't staying in this league again. There was no chance whatsoever, and you can feel that just by the way people prepared for games and the way that once one game was done, it was like who's next, sort of thing.
Yeah, and there's a feeling.
You just know, and it's just like I can't put my finger on it, and I'd love to, but it was like every single person in the squad had that feeling, no matter if they played or didn't play. And I think that was the biggest thing, is that the whole squad had that goal and
Yeah,
everyone's goal aligned, sort of thing.
I love that.
And
With
yeah,
that North Star in it, with the North Star.
yeah. So like there was no one like I don't know, for example, there's no one not aiming for the same thing. And I think that was everybody at the club,
Yeah, the
that
other side.
included.
Everyone's on the same boat.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think there was no stopping them from the first game of the season.
Yeah, played some great football last season, mind you. Played some great football. Right. So number 6, what's the best one mistake you've learned from that made you stronger? So who's there? Is there? I know. Look, asking a 19-year-old this question is tough, but is there a mistake that you feel like you've learned more than ever from?
Like you obviously said, I don't want to come here and like make any stories up or anything like that. And mistakes, massive ones, I don't remember, but like not remember, but I don't feel like I can say a huge mistake. I just
Yeah.
when I saw that question, I just thought of a time where I did something wrong and I got a bit of a telling off, and that's
What was your so importantly for me, not necessarily the mistake, but you obviously got a bit of a telling off. What was the reaction to that for you?
it was with the first team, and it was in, like I said, that first proper season that I was with them, and I just never did what I did again,
Yeah.
and I made sure of it. Like
And
the fact that I got told in front of the whole squad as well, so it wasn't like just a one-to-one telling off. This was in front of the whole squad. So yeah, that thing definitely did not happen again.
that question relates to a bit of like being able to make mistakes,
Yeah.
and something you spoke about earlier on, which again, well, like when we come off this call, I'll take this from it. But the environment your mum and dad allow you to just express yourself and
Hmm.
go and do it. That's the piece where you're allowed to make mistakes.
Yeah.
There's no repercussions of it. It's like just go and enjoy yourself and do
Yeah.
it, right?
Mm,
That's the bit I really love.
Yeah, I think that is part of then what's been very good about the fact that I took the step to Leeds is
Yeah,
that I had to grow up. I had to make mistakes. And like I said, I can't pinpoint ones, but I guarantee you I made hundreds.
yeah,
Um, whether that be little things like what I ate after a game, like, and then I wasn't fully prepared for the next week of training. But me moving away, I think makes you more independent, but you can only become that if you do things wrong, if you know what I mean. And it's
yeah.
not the end of the world if you do things wrong. Like I've had Domino's pizzas after games. Like I'll
Yeah,
hold my hands up, but like the next day I'm feeling crap. Or like I've not done a recovery session because I've been knackered. And
yeah,
then I feel even worse and stuff like that. Like there is things where I make mistakes, like you said, like I mentioned before as well. The not doing every rep a few times. I had to make that mistake to then realize that is a mistake, if you know what I mean.
yeah, definitely, mate. No, I definitely get it, and it's interesting how you found it tough to acknowledge, but actually, when we're talking about it, we make it, and
Exactly.
it's not about like a big, huge mistake. It's about just those small ones.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
come on, I had a nugget bar. I shouldn't have had that. I know it. I'm gonna have to go to the gym later to work it off.
Exactly. Yeah. That's sort of how you think. That's sort of how I think, sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah,
it's
definitely.
bad. It's bad.
Yeah, no, it's good. Hey, mate, it's good. Right. So someone's listening to this, somebody who's really wants to get into football. This next question, question 7. How do you balance ambition and stay humble and grounded? One thing that oozes from you, and what I love about you, Charles, is whenever I see you, it doesn't feel like as though that you've played for Wales. You've played for the senior team in Wales, right? But there's a humbled side of you. So how have you managed to balance ambition and being humble?
I think the biggest part is for me, I don't love talking about it. I don't love talking about what I've done. And it's something that I think within my family as well, that like I do something and I play for Wales for the first time. And it's not like we're having a party celebrating with family. It's just like I'm speaking about Miller's netball an hour later.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've thought about it. I think it's just how it's happened. And I think it's quite good that I've had two sisters, Miller, that's extremely competitive with me, is that it's not one thing and that's like, let's celebrate it. Amazing. Like, let's just focus on that. Like, keep going back to the fact that I've done this. It's like,
It's sort of that next job mentality.
yeah, it's like that's for me in how I see it is like I don't think or I'm not fully satisfied until like I'm at a level. I said this to my mate the other day. I don't think I'll ever be satisfied, which can be good and can be bad in two different ways. And I think I do have the balance quite well, as in I understand that I'm doing well at times. I do, but like I want to be another step ahead sort of thing. But
Chasing, so I would say with that then, mate, it's like it feels like it sounds like, Matthew McConaughey talks about chasing yourself.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah, yeah,
when you all you're doing is chasing you.
yeah, yeah. So that's how I see it, as in the ambition side is like I'm still realistic with my goals and my goals aren't too far ahead either. I like to like a season goal sort of thing, 6 month goal, this, that, the other. But then that humble side is I think keeping your goals to yourself as well and not screaming and shouting about them, because
Yeah,
then that sort of like it just brings attention away from yourself in a way and lets you work on your own.
yeah. And that's it, because you're in a team environment that really, I
Yeah.
definitely and the listeners will definitely understand then.
But yeah,
Um,
it's not speaking too much. It's just enjoying the good moments. It's sort of just being a good human, as in like I meet up with you and like, yeah, you're gonna ask questions. I understand you're gonna ask questions because you want to know. But it's me asking you questions, it's me showing interest in other people. It's coming across like that you're not more important than anyone. Like you have to have that balance. And I think that's the biggest part. And the part that I take the most pride in is how I come across to other people. And I'm obviously thankful that you said what you said, because it does mean a lot to me to come across that way.
yeah, mate, there's absolutely. I mean, the last time we actually saw each other was down the shop, and we
I
had a
know,
hug. It was a hug moment, and I love a
I
hug
know,
moment.
I know, I know, I know. It's changing from handshakes to hugs now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not hugs anymore, mate. We're hugs,
No,
right?
no, no, yeah, I know.
Again, great. So, great. What's something about your journey that most people don't see, and it's crucial?
I think the biggest part is when people aren't watching. Like you have nowadays a lot of social media and you have people posting that they've won, and like a Saturday can feel on social media like every single person's won
All right.
and every single person's played well. And you're like, okay, somehow everyone's won and everyone scored. But behind that you don't see everything. And it's when no one's watching where it means the most, and it's when it's just you, and that's what I feel anyway. It's like I feel the best. I can work hard and get compliments from people, but when I work hard on, for example, Doncaster would play on a Saturday and they'd have Sunday off. But if I didn't play on a Saturday, I'd go to the gym, I'd do my runs, I'd do my gym, and I'd go back home, do an ice bath, recover like that. I'd recover and do everything properly. But nobody knew, and that's when I felt the best. Is knowing in my head that I've done everything and nobody knows. And I don't know
Yeah.
how to explain it any other way. Is
No,
like
no, no.
I feel good that nobody else knows because
Yeah.
I know I'm getting that 1% better when some people might not be. And that's what I'm aiming for, is that whatever I can do, whether it be the smallest thing or the biggest thing, is everything adds up.
Yeah. Yeah. That 1% gains you mentioned
Yeah.
about, it's an interesting point because I recently, well, I did the Ironman in the summer, right? And I was
Yeah.
training for it, and that wasn't a plug in and trying to, like, I don't like talking about it either like that. But my coach that I had at the time, he was like, look, he was a professional cyclist. And he said, I was talking to him about the 1% gains. I said, like, can I get better at this and better at that? He said, look, John, let's just start with the basics, right? You need a good bike. You haven't got a good bike. Proper trainers, you haven't got proper trainers. You know, he said, it's all well and good about the 1% gains, mate, but you've got to get the basics right first to get the
Yeah.
that. You know, but the bit you just spoke about there, it's just like, again, it's putting yourself away in it. It's what people don't see behind closed doors. You don't miss, those reps you don't miss, that lunch you don't miss, that 35 on the bike you don't miss. It's like
Yeah.
you're only letting yourself down if you do miss them.
Yeah, and I think there's that massive feel of guilt if I don't do it. Um, that that it just eats me alive if I don't do it.
Yeah, just out of interest on that, I bet a lot of people would want to know. You'd mentioned social media. Before we go into the final two questions, how is social media? It's obviously big, and being in that goldfish bowl that you are, how's social media been for you? I'd take it that's, it's like, is it like a pressure cooker to talk to someone who doesn't really
Um,
see it?
Again, this is another reason why Ethan Ampadu is such a, like, not important person, but someone that I look up to in a lot of things because he's given me so much advice. Is that he told me straight away, if you have Twitter, delete Twitter. Um, you're going into men's football, you're not looking at Twitter at all. And I was like, okay, I don't understand why. I didn't have a Twitter account, but sort of wanted one now that he said that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where do I get it? Where do I get it?
It's like, why are you telling me that? But
Yeah,
you hear stories all the time about, like, you can do anything on a football pitch, and someone will say you're great, and someone will say you're the worst player they've ever seen. And it's happens a lot more than you think. And I think my parents, I had to tell them, don't listen to everything you read. I'm not gonna play 10 out of 10 every game. It's only natural that you're gonna have games where you're not as good. People jump on that quicker than they jump on anything else. Um, like on social media.
so how have you handled that now? Being 19 like you are, how do you feel how does someone handle that sort of pressure?
I think it's just as simple as you just don't look for it. You don't go looking for it.
Right.
Like after you play a game and stuff like that, the only thing that I'm doing is I'm going on my WhatsApp family group chat to say thank you to everyone for coming, and my gran telling me how amazing my slide tackle was in the game. Like that's all now I want to hear,
Yeah,
is the people's opinions that actually matter.
yeah,
And that's the people that are selecting you to play, and that's the people that love you, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
No,
definitely.
no one else's opinion, respectfully. I don't care about you or what you have to say.
Yeah,
Uh,
people that
and
count, right?
yeah, the people that really matter, and that's the people that are putting you out on the football pitch, and it's the people that have grown up with you and given everything, like I said, my parents and grandparents have for you. Like that's the only opinion that matters. They can obviously tell you that, oh, they don't think I did great today, but if they tell me that, I'm gonna know it anyway. I'm gonna feel it. I've played football long enough to understand if I play good or I play bad. Like I don't need to then go online and try find some sort of person that's saying, "Oh no, he actually played good today," when deep down I know that I didn't. So
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing is like, yes, when you're doing great, you probably want to go and have even more compliments, but people who have never been in football and just watch football, they don't know what they're talking about. Respectfully, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but they don't pick the team. They don't coach you every day. They don't do anything like that. So it's only the people that are close to you, like you said, that matter.
What a great way to answer that, because I think that, again, from an outsider looking in, uh, you'd sort of see the social media as being one of those real sticklers. But I agree with what you just said, mate. It's like if I don't look at it or don't, it doesn't bother
Yeah.
me. I care
Yeah.
about what matters. I'm controlling the controllables, not the ones that I.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the main thing is like controlling what you can control.
Yeah,
And that applies for so many things, but in this instant, yeah, just don't go looking for it.
yeah, good, mate. We got 2 questions left. Like, look, again, this is it's too spunky for me because this is like proper,
No,
like,
I've loved it.
it's been brilliant. I've actually loved the conversation. I really have. But number 9, if you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be? So let's say you were going back to speak to you said that 14, 15-year-old, you started believing actually this could be something I do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
What would you go back and tell a 14, 15-year-old Charlie Crew?
I'll tell him that not everything's uphill. And get ready for that. And when it's not necessarily uphill, is that in the long run, like you see charts, and I don't know how to give an example. You see like things where you invest, for example, and it goes up and it comes down and it goes up and it comes down. And you see that, and if you zoom in, the downs look so big. But then
Yeah,
you zoom out over 10, 15 years, and the downs are like this, and everything's still going that way, it
yeah.
seems, but you've just dipped like the smallest amount. So sort of like that investment, I don't know what you call it, but that sort of like,
Tracker, but you track it up and actually
yeah,
over
yeah.
to see that growth,
Yeah,
right?
so then if you zoom in on the week that you've had a down, then it's going to look massive. And for me, this 6 months is going to look massive to me right now. But I guarantee you, and people tell me this, and I don't believe them straight away, but I'm going to look back at it and be like, that was nothing.
Yeah.
I needed it because then the next part was it shot up after that, for example. That's what they keep telling me. So it's just understanding that not everything's going up and up and up, and not everything that goes down is as big as you think.
Yeah, it's not gonna keep going down. It's like it's
Yeah.
gonna at some point, you gotta tell yourself that it's a
You
gr
you can't go down for it. Like it's not how things work.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I suppose it comes back full circle to what you said about if you put that effort in and you're gonna and you can
Exactly, yeah.
yeah, if you keep turning up and you keep doing what you're doing, at some point you're gonna get that break. You're gonna get that moment, right?
Yeah. And it's so hard to keep turning up, but the when you keep turning up, I had a little bit of the moment on Monday. I kept turning up every day for the last 6 weeks, doing everything right in rehab. And that feeling when I stepped back on the pitch and could just go and play football, which I hadn't done in 6 weeks, I've missed it so much. And that feeling, and that's only a small one. Like if I start a match next weekend, I'm going to be like, oh, this is even better. Or I'm going
Yeah,
to go back with the first team and train with them. It's going to be like, oh my God. So like that reward of the carrying on is so worth it. And yeah,
yeah, mate. Again, it's a great I think there's a loads of lessons there that people will take away. If I'm listening to this and I'm taking it for myself, like, I'm gonna take loads from that. So,
Mhm.
last but not least, the last number 10 question, and I'm gonna slightly word it differently because I think that legacy word is an interesting is a funny little word. But let's say we fast forward 15 years, right? Say you get to 35, 36, and you've played all your career through in football. What sort of legacy in the future would you want to leave? If you're gonna fast forward, what sort of legacy do you wanna leave?
I just want, and I want people already to be saying this is like, if you've played with me, if you met me, is first of all, away from football is just like I mentioned to you before, I really take pride in how people see me, and I don't want people to see me as like a big-headed, a cocky, things like this. I want people to really think that I'm a good person. And then more towards the football, I think I just want people I'd like to be a role model for people. I'd like people to look up to me and be like, oh, I'd like to be like him, the way he works, the way he conducts himself, and whether that be, like I said, on and off the pitch. Um, but I just want people to remember me as someone that gave everything and had no regrets. And hopefully everyone can say that up until now, but it's still, like I said, it's still a work in progress. So yeah, I'm just still trying to do that every day.
Yeah, like, mate, a legacy for a 19-year-old. I even look at legacy now and think it's a tough, tough question. But so it leads really well into those goals you spoke about. What I know you, I think that the listeners got this year's goal. You've obviously had your first cap for Wales. You've played at near enough every age group, and 21's included in Wales. You're playing in for a Premiership team, and you're pushing your way in. What does that sort of what goals have you got personally? I suppose that if I was asking anyone else, I'd say, right, what are you looking to try and get from football? What sort of goals have you got that you're going after?
Obviously at the start of this year, like I mentioned to you before, I wanted to go on loan and I wanted to play 30, 40 games because appearances is important. It brings experience, and that's what people are looking for. A player that's played games, understands different scenarios in games, and people can trust you. They trust you with the more appearances you have. And so that was one thing. Obviously, like I said, that didn't go as planned when the second half of the season I got injured. Now I've set myself a goal of pushing my way back in, whether that be a cup game, for example, an FA Cup game. Leeds are still in the FA Cup, whether that be there or whether that be for Leeds' first team in the Premier League. That's one thing that I think is really important for me is not me just playing. That's not my goal. Playing is putting myself in the best position to be trusted and put in, because I understand that scenarios of Leeds are in maybe in a relegation battle, this, that, the other games are very important. I understand that. So setting the realistic goal of just me being in the best possible position to be involved. And then I think that sets me up nicely just for obviously coming up until the end of the season. At the start of this season, there's a huge chance that Wales could make the World Cup. And that was something not my most important, but in the back of my mind, which is obviously now we'll wait and see in March how that goes. But that's something that I set myself as well, is to be involved, whether that be just to be there as a training player, whether that's to be there on the bench or whether that's to be there and play. Like I just want to be in and around it to experience where I want to be in the future, which is playing at World Cups, which is another dream, just as I had as a kid. But yeah, so there's a
And what
few there.
that World Cup. So again, going back to come forward, I talk about Dave Cottrell. He talked about Bellamy, and he talked about Bellamy as a player because he played alongside Bellamy as a coach. Just to sort of round this up, how have you found his energy? Because like it's quite addictive. Like I'm looking at Welsh football, thinking there's an energy back in it now, right? How is he like? What is he like? Is he around?
I've loathed every single chance I've had to be in and around his camps. He started me for the first time against Canada, which obviously I loved every second of that. And obviously I can't thank him enough for putting me in that position. But like I said, I've loved every minute just because of what I mentioned before, is that enthusiasm and that belief from that leader in the group. Like he's obviously played, been there, done it at the highest of levels, like I've mentioned before. So again, someone that a player like myself who's just starting out really can look up to. Being Welsh as well is another perfect link sort of thing. Um, but just the confidence that he gives the team and the energy that he works with every single day. I promise you, every single day, every single meeting, the sort of belief that he holds in himself and the game plan, for example, it's like you can't not believe in it because of how much he believes in it. And I just think that is what he's brought to a lot of people, even though the fans aren't in the meetings and the fans aren't on the training pitch. The way he like comes across to them, clearly there's, like you said, a massive energy within Welsh football, and he's, I would say, the best coach that I've worked with so far, without a doubt, because of just the amount of detail that he goes into, and obviously the confidence and belief that he puts in every player. Again, I've not been involved fully, like camp after camp, game starting. but even the ones I've been involved in, I can feel it. And he does it with everyone, which captain, Harry Wilson, me, the goalies, literally everyone. And like, it's obviously, I feel very grateful to be able to say that um, I've experienced working under him, sort of thing.
Yeah, mate. It fills me with joy just as a fellow Welshman, and I think it's a perfect way to end it as well, mate. To be honest, I think I will. Thank you ever so much for saying yes to come on. Right, that's number one, because I think you could have quite easily. I bet you get offered all the time to go on podcasts. So to come on this one for me has meant so much to me. Right, so thank you ever so much for that.
No worries at all.
But just to watch you grow, and how other people talk about you, how it's been a joy to watch so far, and I'm really excited to see you. Your first cap against Canada, your dad and mum must have been a bubbling mess, because I was like a bit of a bubbling mess watching you that. See the hard work you're putting in, the way you put yourself across, the way that humble side. I think that will only ever put you in great stead, right? So the ups, the downs, it's going to come with life. But ultimately, the biggest thing that I've taken from this, mate, is your attitude and the way you look at things has just been an absolute breath of fresh air. So the way you've applied yourself to this pod has been amazing, and I can't wait for the next time I see you and we'll have a nice little hug, mate.
Yeah, I know. And I just want to say as well, thank you for having me. And like you said, the way I've prepared myself, I couldn't do it any other way because I have to do it properly if it's with you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Mate, look, you were 10 minutes early. You caught me short, right? I couldn't even have my cup of tea ready when you jumped on. But,
No,
look,
yeah.
thank you ever so much, mate. Coming
Thank
on the
you
pod,
as well.
I'd love to do this again.
Yeah, no, I promise you anytime. Like I've really enjoyed it. It's not something that I've done before, so I didn't know what to expect, but I think you've made it really easy. It's just felt like a conversation,
And
which is nice and just like a catch up in a way, but with
yeah,
a bit more detail behind it, sort of thing, which I've really enjoyed. And it's something that like I enjoy listening to podcasts. So it's something that I definitely wanted to do at some point. But the fact that you could invite me on, like I appreciate that so much. And like you
yeah.
said, hopefully we can catch up soon because it's been way too long.
It has, mate. It has. And on that note, I think good luck with the rest of the season, right? I really hope you get your goal this season. I hope you get everything you want. The World Cup turns your way. I just hope it all goes your way, mate. And if it doesn't, you go back and you go again, like you just said.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thanks ever so much for coming on the Jon Saunders podcast, mate. And I will
Yeah. Thank you very
definitely
much.
have my curry with your dad on Sunday.
Yeah. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah, well, he hasn't agreed to paying yet, but I'll see how that goes.
I'll tell him he has to.
You telling me how to?
Yeah. Thank you very much. And I'll catch up with you soon. Say hi to everyone from me, please.
Yeah, I will do, mate. I will do. Thanks for coming, mate.
No worries. Happy day. See you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
Bye.